Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to be here alongside my cabinet colleagues, Minister of Transportation, Prabmeet Sarkaria, Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, and Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Todd McCarthy, and Doug Downey, the Attorney General of Ontario. Just a few minutes ago, I introduced the Fighting Delays Building Faster Act 2025. The name of this legislation is fitting, as our government continues to fight every day to protect Ontario. This legislation builds on the foundation that we set in the last session and complements Bill 17, our Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act. Simply put, it takes too long and it costs too much to build infrastructure and homes in Ontario. We are changing this. Today, we face unprecedented challenges south of the border and here at home. These challenges are impacting our housing market and the broader economy in Ontario. Together, under the leadership of Premier Ford, our team will tackle these challenges head-on. This legislation continues to build on the work we have done previously to create the conditions home builders do what they do best, and that is to build. Every day that we keep building, we are keeping workers on the job and creating a more prosperous and more competitive Ontario. Now I want to highlight some of the pieces of the bill that will get more homes built faster. Our Fighting Delays Building Faster Act will, if passed, stop municipalities from requiring high-cost, premium, time-wasting design demands that do not improve safety. This policy will take effect by the next building season, ensuring every builder in Ontario plays by one clear, consistent design standard. We will undertake a section-by-section review of the Ontario Building Code to reduce regulatory burdens and costs while absolutely maintaining safety in this province. We will speed up decision-making to get shovels in the ground faster for water and wastewater infrastructure in Peel Region by enabling a new public utility model. We will reform the municipal development charge framework to ensure home builders pay the true cost of infrastructure and not inflated costs that are pricing home buyers right out of the market. We also have major initiatives in this bill from the ministers present here today, including new measures to boost ongoing efforts to address delays and reduce backlogs at the Landlord-Tenant Board, and part of our plan to protect Ontario by helping to balance the rights and responsibilities of landlords and tenants. Together, we are taking action to protect Ontario and ensure continuing prosperity for everyone. I'd now like to turn the podium over to Minister Sarkaria for some remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Minister Flack, for the introduction. I also want to acknowledge, like Minister Flack, my colleagues, Minister McCarthy and Attorney General Doug Downey as well. And all of you have joined us today for this exciting announcement. Reliable and affordable transportation keeps our communities connected, fuels our economy, and is a key part of our government's plan to protect Ontario. Gridlock not only costs hardworking Ontarians time, keeping them away from their families and delaying the movement of goods for businesses, it also costs our economy nearly $56 billion every year. Simply put, we can't afford it. So today, we're introducing the Fighting Delays Building Faster Act with Minister Flack to protect Ontario by keeping people and goods moving across the province. Here in Toronto, commuters face some of the worst traffic in North America and lose approximately 98 hours a year in rush hour. We are taking action. The legislation will protect lane capacity by prohibiting the reduction of vehicle lanes when municipalities install new bike lanes. We are standing up for drivers and supporting families and businesses across the province. Our government is also strengthening rules to keep our roads safe. Right now, drivers from countries without the reciprocal licensing agreements can count foreign driving experience toward a full G license, even when that experience is hard to verify. In some cases, fraudulent documents have let unqualified drivers bypass Ontario's rigorous standards. That ends now. We're closing this loophole to make sure every driver earns their license the right way. Under our proposed changes, drivers from non-reciprocal jurisdictions will be required to pass both the G2 and G road tests before earning a full license. And for new commercial applicants, we will introduce a 1-year wait between obtaining a G license and taking the Class A road test, so every driver gains real on-the-road experience in Ontario. Furthermore, to strengthen road safety and stop fraud, every new commercial driver's license applicant must prove legal presence in Canada and work eligibility and show it again at renewal. That way, only those who are legally entitled to drive these heavy-duty vehicles can get behind the wheel. The trucking industry is a great place to start a career, and we want people to succeed, but we have to do it the right way with clear rules that protect lives on Ontario's roads. Our government is also taking action to make it easier and faster to build municipal roads across the province. The legislation that we tabled today will lay the groundwork for one clear set of road building standards. Right now, a patchwork of local rules slows designs, adds red tape, and drives up the cost of road projects. The Fighting Delays Building Faster Act will create efficiencies and mean quicker builds and better value for taxpayers. These changes are just the start. We're consulting with industry stakeholders and our partners across government, and we're looking at every area we can to keep improving road safety, keep people moving, and to protect Ontario. Thank you very much, and back over to you, Minister Flack.
We will now open the floor to media questions. Media, please line up at the mic behind me. Please identify yourselves by name and outlet. It'll be one question, one follow-up. First question.
Mr. Flack, are you going to appoint a regional chair to replace Jim Bradley in Niagara?
We are, yes.
So you're going to appoint, is it going to be one of the city councillors? Or, how do you respond to criticism that by you appointing a chair and not allowing the councillors to vote for one, you're ignoring local decision making?
Mayor Bradley was a great chair, great MPP, a great minister, and we're going to follow in that tradition in this province. We're going to appoint a new chair in Niagara Region.
Well, how do you address it?
We communicate regularly with all the mayors and any councillor. I'm taking their advice. I'm listening and learning and taking their counsel. And in due time, we will choose the proper and best person available to chair the Niagara Region.
That doesn't really answer my questions about, how do you respond to criticism that you're ignoring local decision making?
I don't think I'm ignoring local decision making when I'm listening to the mayors and the councillors. They represent the local community.
Minister Sarkaria, in terms of removing vehicle lanes, how will this impact programs like Cafe TO or food festivals where vehicle lanes are often shut down?
Well, this in two parts. This is for specifically with respect to bike lanes across the province. So it would not impact, say, for example, a street festival that is happening and that is only requires a shutdown of a non-permanent nature for that example. So for street festivals, for the most part, a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks at the most, so that they would not be captured under this.
What about more permanent programs like Cafe TO?
On a go-forward basis. So from our perspective, if a lane is required to be blocked with specific reference to a bicycle lane, that will not that would be not allowed there at this moment. We do obviously reserve the right in the future if there are other measures that need to be taken, we will look at. But as of right now, this legislation only addresses bicycle lanes that remove traffic for that remove a lane of traffic.
Could it ever affect transit lanes?
Well, as of right now, we are focusing specifically on bicycle lanes.
Is there any chance in the future you'll focus on transit?
Well, for me, it's about looking at how do we get the city moving? How do we keep the city moving? We've seen that through the implementation of these bike lanes, of whether it's on Bloor Street, Yonge Street, University, the ones that we have specifically targeted and called out, there have been some significant delays on those roads caused by these bike lanes that have not been used by individuals. So I look at every issue that comes before us and through conversation and through what we then see happen on our roads and the impacts to gridlock, impacts to productivity, at future times can take direction and also decisions.
And with respect to what we were told this morning about the government consulting on alternative options, essentially that could allow landlords to end leases. I think this is a question best for the Attorney General or the Housing Minister. Just wondering what you are looking at there.
Well, we've heard from stakeholders that these evergreen leases that just go on with no end in sight may not be the appropriate. Other jurisdictions, when we did a scan across the country, do different things. But we weren't confident that we had the answer, and we only want to move with confidence. So we're going to go back out and talk to landlords and tenants and their organizations and see if there's a better way for the people of Ontario to unlock that housing that isn't happening now.
But that's housing that people are in, if they're tenants, right? It's hard to see a world in which, if you're giving landlords more power to end leases, that they're not going to want to get in a tenant that will pay more. So is this not inevitably going to end up with higher rents, more people getting kicked out of their rentals?
We're going to consult widely on it. What we do know is there are a lot of landlords that are not putting their units on the market. We need to get those units. I'm convinced if we get the right balance, we'll unlock tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of new units, and those will be places that people that currently don't have a place to be will be able to rent.
So, sorry, you're saying that if landlords, there are some landlords that if there are more flexible types of agreements, that they would be willing to rent currently unrented spaces.
I've been told that repeatedly for years, that some landlords are not entering the market because they don't have confidence in it.
Minister Sarkaria, could you talk a bit more about the changes to commercial licensing and what is the problem that you're trying to solve here?
Well, look, I think from our perspective, it's about ensuring safety on our roads. And so looking at, always evolving on those safety standards across the province is really important for us. When we talk about Highway 11, Highway 17, in some circumstances that are highways that see the impact of heavy snowfall in some circumstances, weather conditions that can be significantly severe. So one of the changes made here to have a mandatory license waiting period of Canadian driving experience of at least 1 year will ensure individuals that are here experience road conditions of all sorts before being eligible for a commercial vehicle license. So it's just about strengthening the safety on the roads, more familiarity. We continue to lead the country with respect to training and our standards for training, so we'll continue to do that and move forward on that as well.
Minister Sarkaria, this is a question about speed cameras. Will the province fully fund cities and municipalities for signage and infrastructure related to speed cameras in its 641 school zones?
Right now, our first objective is in ASC impacted zones. So anywhere there's a municipal speed camera right now, we have put forward legislation to remove those speed cameras is what our first fund will focus on. We're always happy to consult with municipalities, look at ways from traffic calming measures in other areas to do so. But our first specific act is to look at the areas that currently have the municipal speed cameras that have been installed. Those would be required to have the signage that the province pays for, as well as traffic calming measures that we will be working with the cities on.
Minister, you've often talked about a fund being set up to help make municipalities whole, but we've heard zero by way of how much that will be. These are investments you talk about, speed bumps, cushions, signage, tens of millions of dollars across the province. So what's it going to be? Why aren't you giving us actual concrete figures?
No, and we will be in the very near short term. We're in consultation on exactly those measures. Traffic calming measures can be a variety of measures, from a speed bump to roundabouts to other measures that can be applied on the road. So we will absolutely continue that consultation internally, but very, very shortly release the value of the fund as well as the criteria on that fund. So that will be coming very shortly.
And Minister Flack, the housing numbers in the province, the starts continue to be pretty poor, pretty stalled. You yourself said that over the summer, putting that 1.5 million home goal pretty far out of reach, it would seem. The FAO has said that you're really not on track for that. Have you given up on that goal?
My focus 100% is the next 6 to 12 months. It takes too long and it costs too much to build a home in this province. I think we all know that. So what we're trying to do as a government is create the conditions to get out of the way, lower costs, lower red tape. So folks like behind me here at Build and FRPO, Federation for Rental Construction Ontario, can do what they do best, and that's build. We have got some major headwinds ahead of us, but we're creating these conditions. Look at Bill 17. I think you'll see the deferral till occupancy of DCs, put in motion the changes, standardizing the building code. That's in this bill, reducing the amount of studies. In Toronto alone, I've had met with hundreds of builders in the last 3 months, hundreds, along with municipal leaders, like Robin Jones here from AMO, Association of Municipalities of Ontario. And do you know that it can cost over a third of the cost of a new building just for fees and taxes, HST, land transfer tax, studies? It's crazy. We've layered these costs on for generations, and it's caught up to us. It takes literally months, weeks or months to get a building permit in parts of the United States. It can take years in Ontario. We have to change that. We're competing with the states. We need to build homes better, faster, and more competitively, making it more affordable for Ontario.
Some of these changes, like the building code review, that's going to take a long time before we see an effect in the market, an actual measurable effect on housing starts. Have you left yourself enough runway to hit that 1.5 million by 2031? I think the province has to be hitting over 175,000 next year.
Again, as I said, I'm focused. I can't look back. I'm looking forward. I want to get shovels in the ground faster, and our job collectively as government is to create the conditions, put the legislation, the policies, and work with our municipal partners, put that in place so we can get that job done. We have a housing crisis, a generational housing crisis. We acknowledge that. We always have. And again, this bill complements Bill 17, and I think with respect to the building code, the code is king. There needs to be one code across Ontario. What we're going to do is review it. We have a great building code. We keep people safe. But are there ways to improve it? Absolutely. So we're going to take it line by line and see where we can find efficiencies and make it an even stronger building code than it already is.
Just to be clear, in reference to Sean's question, he asked if you're still committed to the 1.5 million. Are you?
I'm committed to getting shovels in the ground faster. I'm looking at the next 6 to 12 months to get this thing kick-started. The future will be the future. We're in a housing crisis. We get it.
Doesn't sound like you are.
I'm committed to getting more homes built faster. That's my primary goal.
A question for the CEO of the Road Builders Association. My understanding is that you were the former Labour Minister's stakeholder relations director or something along those lines.
I don't think that's appropriate for this one. He's here in another capacity.
You brought him out here. This is about his organization. Members of its board have given almost $100,000 to the PC party. It's gotten millions of dollars in skills development funds. So I'm just wondering, Waleed, if either those donations or your past work with the Labour Ministry has helped your organization get skills development funding.
Yeah, let me first introduce myself. My name is Waleed Abuhamdi. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Ontario Road Builders Association. Our members build, maintain all types of transportation infrastructure across the province. And maybe I'll start by thanking the ministers and the industry partners who are here with us on being here on this very important day, and especially Minister Sarkaria on the introduction of today's legislation. The road harmonization standard will be a pivotal moment, I think, for the industry. It'll really decrease inefficiencies. It'll de-risk the environment for our members. It'll allow us to build infrastructure faster and better quality infrastructure, that is. So thank you, Minister, for that. Look, this government has made a historic commitment to a 10-year infrastructure pipeline. Delivering on that pipeline requires training the workforce necessary, and the Skills Development Fund had played an essential role in allowing organizations like ours to train the next generation to deliver on that ambitious infrastructure priority. So I'll leave it here.
This is our media conference for today.
Did your connections with the government or your organization's donations help get skills development funds?
This concludes our media conference for today. Thank